Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, guys. Celtic Warband here, and welcome back to another battle in Rome 2 Total War. Today's battle is a special one for me because this will be my 1000th video upload to YouTube. 1000 videos have been posted since the beginning of my channel, and I can't thank you all enough for your support throughout the years. It means a lot to me. But about the battle, this is a 3v2 scenario battle in which two of Rome's legions have been cut off from retreat. The barbarian tribes have surrounded the legions and are now closing in. The legions hastily prepared a defensive fortification to aid in their defense, but would it be enough to stop the tide? Let's go ahead and find out. The first enemy army on the battlefield today is the Nervii, commanded by the Red Celt, and you can see his massive army moving out of the forest and into the plains in full view of the Romans. Very terrifying sight to behold, and this is just one of the enemy barbarian armies that the Romans will have to face in battle. But let's go ahead and see what the Red Celt has brought. In the front lines, he's got 4 units of the naked spears, and on the other far side, he has 4 units of naked warriors. So the full front line of the Nervii is just hundreds of naked men. How terrifying would that be for the Romans, seeing them come out of the forest? I, for one, would be very afraid. But right behind that, he's got a good mix of some Celtic skirmishers for those armor-piercing damage, and then he also has a few units of the Celtic youths, which are farther down the line, so 3 and 3. Right behind that, he's got some Spear Brothers. I believe he had 5 units of them, and then his melee infantry is 4 units of Fierce Swords. And of course, no barbarian army would be complete without the Oathsworn. He has 5 units of them, and then he has his General, which is a Noble Horse unit, waiting back. He also has 4 units of cavalry, so he has 2 units of Mighty Horse over here on the left flank, and far over on the right flank we've got 2 units of the Noble Horse, moving forwards very slowly, protecting the flanks of the army. Very, very terrifying, especially in this dark, rainy atmosphere with the forest surrounding the Romans. It's going to be a good battle. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Nervii's allies. The next enemy army on the battlefield today is the Suebi, commanded by Joe Onnet, and they are showing the true size of their army. No hiding in the forest for the Suebi. They are out on the battlefield in full force. Let's go ahead and take a look at what Joe Onnet has brought to the battlefield. Right in the front lines here, we've got 8 units of Club Levy, followed closely behind by 6 units of the Cimbri Bowwomen. Right behind that, we've got 6 units of the Bloodsworn, and then the cream of the crop of Suebi's nobles, the Sword Masters. He has 5 units of them. And then behind that, we've got 4 units of Hex Bearers, 2 units on either side. And in the center, we have 3 units of the Round Shield Swordsmen. And then he has 2 units of cavalry. He has the Noble Riders on either side of the great Swordmaster General. These Swordmasters, we've seen them in previous Rome 2 battles, and they are a force to be reckoned with. They could take on the Oathsworn without much trouble at all, and they have insane morale. So hopefully they will not stand up to the Roman legionaries, but I guess we will find out. Let's go ahead and take a look at the last barbarian attacker. The final attacking army on the battlefield today is the Arverni, commanded by Dan, and this is something that the Romans probably weren't expecting, a giant ballista. That is going to be disastrous for the Romans because they're sitting ducks. They're not going to be able to do anything about this. They're just going to have to sit back and take the punishment. But let's go ahead and look at Dan's forces. He does have his units of bows way out in the front lines, and they're just becoming visible. 6 units of the Gallic Hunters. And then, of course, we have that giant Celtic ballista there in the front lines. He's got some trash units as well, so he's got 3 units of the Celtic warriors, and then he's got 3 units of the Levy freemen. Not very solid warriors, but he's probably planning to use them to soak up some of our ammunition before charging in his better troops. He's got 3 units of the naked warriors here in the second line, but the majority of his army is made up of the chosen swordsmen, very staple melee infantry. He has 10 units of them. And then, of course, we've also got the 5 Oathsworn in the back. One of them is his general. And then if we look way on the flanks, he has one unit of Noble Horse there. And then way over here, he has another unit of Noble Horse just coming into view. So very, very far on the flanks, interestingly enough. But that ends out the barbarian armies. So now all we need to do is take a look at the poor Roman defenders. Alright, and now we come to the two trapped Roman legions inside their makeshift fortification. And you can see that the sheer amount of Roman warriors is so vast that they can't even fit all of their men safely inside the fortification. So they've actually had to make makeshift defenses outside of the fort. So let's go ahead and take a look at these two Roman legions, the first one being commanded by myself and the second one being commanded by Tattoos and Welding. So if I turn on the HUD to show you kind of who is who or who is what, I am mostly in charge of commanding this right flank and the center or the main area of the fort, where Tattoos and Welding is going to be dealing with the Swaby on the bottom here and the Arverni on the left. I am holding against the Nervii on the right. So let's see what Tattoos and Welding has brought to the battlefield. We'll just kind of mouse over this very quickly because the battle will begin shortly. So it looks like we do have some legionaries and triarii in the front lines here. Very solid front line. We've got some legionary cohort as well as some legionary cohort holding in reserve. So they will be filtered in once the Swaby have shredded these front lines to kind of hold the line as best as they can. Over here on this side, much of the same. We've got the Triarii in the middle, flanked by legionaries, with the legionary cohort following closely behind. And we've got some Evocati cohort here as well. Looks like some more troops are being pushed to the front lines as well. More Triarii and armored legionaries there. We've got some Praetorians with double gold chevrons in the center. They are kind of the defenders of the legatuses. We've got a legatus and a general and bodyguard here, kind of in the central command area. And we've also got some velites as well for Tattoos and Welding. And I think he did bring some of the Syrian archers, which are over on this flank. And that pretty much rounds out his legion. Very solid, but very outnumbered. And the same story for me as well. You can see I've got this nice kind of half octagon shape here. Just a lot of armored legionaries here in the front lines with my auxiliary Balearic slingers out here, hoping to tear down those lightly armored Nervii before they get into melee with my legionaries. I've also got some armored legionaries and some Triarii holding the choke points to the fort. I believe I have 6 units of them. And I've got my Syrian archers over on Tattoos and Welding side to kind of help him out. And the remainder of my forces are back here. I've got 1 unit of Praetorian Guard defending my general. I've also got some first cohort here, some Evocati cohort and Eagle cohort. So this is kind of the cream of the Roman crop right here. Praetorians, first cohort, Evocati cohort, and the Eagle cohort. So they are my elites of the elites. They're going to be in the final stand, giving their lives for the defense of the general. And I've also got some reserves as well. We've got the veteran legionaries here. They're all on the back row, and they will be sent into battle if there is a need. And there will most definitely be a need for them very, very soon. And the barbarians are already coming, guys, so let's go ahead and get to the battle. Alright guys, welcome to the battlefield, and just a look at the host of barbarian warriors on the battlefield. Look, they're still coming out of the forest. It's an unending tide. But even so, these Romans are confident indeed. They are bloodthirsty, and they are ready to take on these barbarians in battle. Let's go ahead and see what's going on this flank. We do have some Romans that are actually pushing out, so this is probably against the orders of the general and bodyguard, moving out to engage the Cimbrian bowwomen. That is a very terrible idea. The Cimbrian bowwomen will be able to just pepper them down as they do try to escape. Looks like they're trying to get into range to take them out, but I would save these velites for a later time. I don't know why he's moving them forwards just now. There we go. He does get a volley off, it looks like, on these units here. What is this that's charging in? Oh, it's a unit of berserkers moving in. Oh my goodness. So yeah, that is not what you want the velites to get caught in melee with. But if he can get some volleys on the berserkers with the velites, that would be very useful. There we go. Yes, hitting them in the back as they try to retreat, killing 5 of them. That is excellent. So actually not a bad play there by Tattoos and Welding early on. Now, as I said in the army comps, this is our main worry. This massive Celtic giant ballista. We are so tightly packed in our fortifications here that they are going to do so much damage to us. I remember playing this battle and being extremely worried about that giant ballista because all of my elites here are packed in the center with nowhere else to go. We have nowhere to run. There's nowhere that we can get to be out of range of that giant ballista. But now it looks like the battle has already begun here. But look at the amount of dead from the traps that the Romans were able to set up before the battle. But the Nervii have pushed in great numbers. The tide of naked warriors has clashed with the Roman legionaries here. Absolutely incredible that these guys would push in to take on the Roman legionaries with no armor whatsoever. Absolute mad lads. But yeah, the Nervii has not wasted any time. They have pushed in. Now, are the allies doing the same? Ooh, yeah, it looks like the Velites were slaughtered by the Cimbrian bowwomen. That is unfortunate. And now the Cimbrian bowwomen are going to move up and start to pepper down Tattoos and Welding's Roman legionaries. And there's really nothing he can do. There's nothing the Romans can do. It's amazing to see some of the Empire's greatest fighting troops and just having them be powerless right now. Because they can't do anything. They can't sally out against the barbarians because they're hopelessly outnumbered, and they are just going to have to sit there and soak up the enemy arrow fire, the enemy artillery fire. But it looks like Joe Onnet is prepping his front line for a massive charge in on Tattoos and Welding's side. This will be really awesome to see. In fact, I'm going to maybe watch it from this side. Or is he pushing this line in first? It looks like he may very well be. Let's actually put this into slow motion and see the charge. Yeah, this is gonna be epic. Look at this. Massive amounts of warriors charging in against the Romans. I love it. Looks like this side is actually gonna hit first. Oh, very smart, Joe. Very smart. He's actually forming up here, and he might actually be able to use some Pila. That's quite the possibility. They might have a ranged weapon that they can throw. Yes, they are. Oh, so smart. So he's just going to tear down the Triarii here. Again, greater numbers from the Swabian forces just ripping down this front line. The Romans are holding the best that they can, but they can't charge out because they'll give up their superior position. There is no other choice but to just take it. Let's see what's going on over here. The Nervii being extremely aggressive. I remember being very worried about the Nervii early on here. Let's go ahead and click play and see how they are doing. They've already managed to make my legionary lines look very thin indeed. It is desperate times out here, but thankfully it looks like some friendly fire going on here. Quite possibly. There we go. Yes, slaughter the naked warriors. Well done. But are we breaking? Oh, we are breaking. That's because of all of these Celtic youths doing such a good job hitting my flanks there. That is worrisome, but thankfully I had some armored legionaries that were pushed in just in time to plug that gap. Over here, thankfully we had some barricades set up, and a lot of my armored legionaries are safe behind the barricades. Some of the Pila are meeting their mark. You can see that some of them are dying, but the majority of them are being blocked by this barricade, which was such a blessing. Look at all of these Pila. And the barricades are actually being broken by the Pila. Absolutely insane. But let's go over here. We've got the Swabi pushing in. This is an absolutely huge battle on all three sides. Although I don't think that... Yeah, I don't think that they've moved in just yet. In fact, it looks like we maybe here... Nope, no, I was going to say maybe they were going to charge around the flank, but it looks like Dan's trying to get into range to burn down our tower. That's what he's planning to do with these cheaper units, which is actually a very, very smart play. So yeah, he's going to sit up here unopposed and just start to burn down one of our towers. Well done to him. But it looks like we have some more troops over here. They may begin to charge in after using up their Pila. So again, softening up this, and good coordination by the attackers too. Attacking relatively at the same time. The Nervii hitting really hard, and then Joe following up with the Swaby very shortly after. And now Dan is moving in with the Arverni troops as well. Oh, and the brave Triarii desperately trying to hold here. Let's actually put it on slow motion, and we can just kind of zip around the battlefield and see what's going on. So we've got more Swaby warriors pushing in here, as if the Romans didn't already have enough to deal with. There we go, throwing the Roman over top of his shield. Disastrous. Here we go. We've got a little bit of a duel going on between these two boys, these two Romans and these two Swaby warriors. Let's kind of just sit here for a little bit. Oh, we've got a third one that has pushed in. Oh no, over the shield again. Oh, absolutely tough to see if you're rooting for the Romans. This is really tough. Let's go over to the Nervii side. So thankfully, the Nervii are only attacking on the center. However, I'm very worried about the cavalry that he has. You can see that his cavalry are just sitting here waiting on the flanks. I think he had, yeah, 2 more over here. And as soon as those barricades and stakes were down, this flank was going to open up. But for right now, my barricades and the stakes that have been put down are serving me quite well. And the Nervii still pushing in. It looks like most of their naked warriors have been killed. We've got the... what do we have now? We've got the Spear Brothers pushed in. Fighting the Nervii desperately over here. The Romans trying to hold. They know that there's no escape from this field. No escape from this battlefield. Look, surrounded on 3 sides with the 4th cut off from escape as well. The barbarian cavalry would run them down for sure. But looks like the Arverni forces have moved forwards, which is good to see. I love the lights on this battlefield, though. Just check this out. Absolutely amazing. Night battles are so cinematic, with the thunder and lightning going as well. But if we turn on the HUD here, you can see that some damage has been done to my elite units, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know where I put them. Yeah, I've hidden them over here, but look at this. Already 11 lost in the Praetorian Guards. First cohort was hammered. Evocati cohort and Eagle cohort, thankfully, untouched. But all down to that really annoying Celtic ballista there. And look at these legionaries. The legionaries down to 119, and they haven't even engaged anything in melee. They've got 20 kills from their Pila that they've thrown, and that is it. Hold, men, hold. But again, sitting ducks. We can't do anything about it. We have to just take the punishment. As painful as that is for these proud Roman warriors, to charge out would be absolute suicide. I loved how fitting, too, the Romans saying, "I do not want a grave here of all places." Yeah, they don't want to die. Look at this formation, too, with the 3 spearheads ready to move in. Very, very cool. But I've got a second line formed up here. You can see I've got my legionaries moving in. I'm leaving my depleted legionaries. Unfortunately, they will all be slaughtered on this battlefield. But the fresh armored legionaries, or the veteran legionaries, have moved in on this flank. And we have sent a lot of Nervii warriors to their graves. Oh my goodness, no, no. Oh, I wish I had that on slow motion. That was disgusting, that volley. Oh, the Romans just standing there. They don't know what to do. That is surely going to break them. And just as I brought up all of my archers here as well, bringing up my archers to try and combat the enemy archers, and also try and focus down some of their warriors because they are quite lightly armored. The Syrian archers are like, I can't believe that we agreed to join the Romans here because we will all die on this battlefield. Here we go, though. Veteran legionaries coming up to defend the flanks. How are we looking over here? Oof, it's a lot of Swaby warriors. A lot of Swaby warriors. And over here, looking very, very thin for Tattoos and Welding. We do have some more troops that are coming up to hold, though. But some of these Romans are completely surrounded, as you can see. Fighting back to back with Suebi warriors all around them. Come on, boys. Cut the Suebi down. Ooh, Romans trying to run away. They're going to be slaughtered. There you go, there you go. Some of the Suebi are have they broken? Well, the Bloodsworn are trying to get out of there, but now they have been flanked by the Evocati cohort. Some heavy hitters coming into the battlefield here. And it looks like Dan has engaged as well over here. And what do we have actually fighting here? We've just got the Celtic Warriors, but he's done so much damage to Tattoos and Welding's front line with just his cheapest units. Thankfully, they are sent packing over here, but they're still really focusing on trying to take this tower down. I think he's using his archers now, if I'm not mistaken, or is he just trying to fire over top? It's hard to say. You can see Tattoos and Welding pushing more of his forces over there. I'm just watching to see all of the lines of the Suebi warriors that are still left. We've got 2-3 lines of the Nervii warriors. We've got a very healthy Arverni army over here. And the Roman fort is starting to look a little bit depleted. Not a lot of troops left. There are a lot of troops on my side just trying to avoid that enemy artillery. But there we go. It looks like we do have the barricades down. Thankfully, the stakes are still standing, though. And I'm sure that the Nervii are quickly trying to take them down while in melee with the Romans so that the enemy noble horse can charge in. Well, there we go. They have broken, and I'm being very careful here to stay very close to the stakes. Come on, slaughter this warrior. Take him down. Don't let him escape. There you go. There you go. Well done, well done, well done. More Roman warriors being pushed to the front lines. There we go, boys. Don't go past the stakes, though. Use your defenses. But the Nervii tide just does not end. What do we got coming in here now? We've got the Fierce Swords pushing in, and I've got my Armored Legionaries ready to engage them. I'm actually charging my Veteran Legionaries at the Fierce Swords so that they do not get that volley with their Pila off on my units. Looks like this unit of Veteran Legionaries is doing really well, taking out those Celtic U's. I think the Celtic U's have used most of their ammunition, though. And over here, Tattoos and Welding's line is quickly fracturing. You can see that there's just fighting everywhere. There's some fighting here. We got the Bloodsworn taking on these Armored Legionaries. We've got some Club Levy over here fighting Armored Legionaries behind enemy lines. But I believe that the Suebi are slowly winning it, and the Round Shield Swordsmen are moving in, but the Sword Masters have not even been committed yet. And already, it came down to the Triarii already, guys. The Triarii are what it's going to have to come down to. And look at this Celtic Ballista, taking down my Triarii to 99 men. They've had 0 kills so far, and that Ballista has just been hammering them all night long. Over here, also not looking good. Dan is really using his troops effectively here. I believe we do have some of the Chosen Swordsmen moved in now to melee. And just look at the thin line of Romans still fighting. How impressive is that? Let's go ahead and slow motion it again, because this is not a long battle, but I want you guys to enjoy it as much as you can. There we go, there we go. Roman gonna get some slaughter in before his unit is completely cut down. Well done, dude, well done. Hold, brave Romans. Look at the sheer size of this warrior compared to this Roman. He's like almost a head taller. My goodness. But now it's 2v1, so hopefully we'll be able to take down the giant Celt. Or the giant Gaul? Giant Gallic warrior, I guess you would say. There we go. There we go. But more Arverni troops are prepped and ready to move in. And again, they haven't even commanded the Oathsworn to pick up their swords and charge in. So there is still a lot of enemy warriors left. Thankfully, I am holding here against the Nervii, though. Very desperately, I might add, but we are still holding. The Fierce Swords are more of a match for my Roman legionaries. And there are just so many of them. And what's this? Do I see some cavalry moving in? Okay, thankfully not. I thought I was going to see them get all skewered on the stakes, but no. Red Celt sending in more of his troops into melee. Are these some of his skirmishers? Yeah. Yeah, so he's sending his skirmishers here on this flank, which is totally fine. Just more slaughter for the Romans. But then again, that is a little bit of a smart tactic. He's kind of throwing his units away, but he's also keeping this unit from becoming fresh again. He's making sure that they stay active and on their way to exhaustion. Over here in the center, it's looking really dire, and all of my archers are in peril right now. I need to get them out as quickly as possible, but I don't know if I know what's going on over here, because I think I'm prepping for the secondary defense here. This is just about the time when the Suebi crack all resistance outside of the walls of the fort. Thousands of warriors have been slain taking this little area, but now that they are able to capture the flanks of this outer defense, now they are going to be able to start taking down the towers. I think Dan was really working hard to take this tower down, but you can see that he is losing quite a few men doing so. I think the pathfinding is a little bit difficult there. But it looks like we do have some Romans that have retreated, and they are trying to make a sneaky getaway out the back. But I don't know if that's going to happen for them. And I do see the Nervii cavalry coming in here. Are they going to charge the Roman legionaries on those stakes? Ooh, let's see what happens here. I'm keeping a close eye on the cavalry. We've got the noble riders over here, though, that have broken in. I just got my auxiliary Syrian archers out in time, but now this unit of veteran legionaries is exposed to charges from the noble horse. So that isn't ideal. We've also got the noble horse over here for the Red Celt. Dear, oh dear. So yeah, the mighty horse isn't moving in, and I call a retreat of all forces not engaged in battle to pull back. And unfortunately, that means that some Romans are left behind in the fighting. Oh, I'm sorry, Romans. I'm sorry. I just couldn't save you. I couldn't save them all. In fact, I can't save many of them, to be honest. And it looks like the noble horse trying to get after those auxiliary Syrian archers. They did actually get caught in melee, which is a little frustrating. But thankfully, I was able to get some of my veteran legionaries back inside the town center. Looks like the general and bodyguard is racing around giving commands. And at the great standards, fighting under the standards of the eagle, we have the Triarii holding back the Suebi from breaking into the confines of the fort. And look at this! We've actually got some of them inside the fort already. They somehow were able to sneak in. That is a disaster. And how are we doing over here? So, yes, they are trying to take down that tower. It's at 75% damage. Yeah, this one's only at 7, so looks like Dan isn't as successful as Joe in taking down that tower for some reason. Or maybe Dan was helping out, taking that out with some of his troops. It's hard to say. But now we've got Dan and his Gallic warriors over here, the chosen swordsmen, lining up to fight the Triarii. The Triarii have been hammered for hours by that artillery. Oh no, and the point-blank Pila throw. Oh, that is frustrating. Oh, we maybe should have just charged out like this. Too much of a sit and duck. Yeah, just charge out, boys. Come on. Oh, they're just gonna hammer those units. Oh, no. Execution by Pila throw. There we go. Now they're moving in. They were moving in, or maybe he's going to be annoying and just cycle in units one at a time like that. Oh, brutal. But here we go. Look at this massive blob here trying to hold back the Nervii warriors. But things are not looking good. Balance of power is heavily out of our favor. If we zoom out just to give you an idea, I think that the Nervii have paid the highest price because this is their final Oathsworn units in, so that's the best units that they can provide. Joe on it is next for the amount of casualties he's taken. You can just see the pile of bodies in this semicircle here. A lot of his units have been damaged. His Swordmasters have been in battle for quite a bit of time. His Berserkers are still healthy, though. And actually, he does have a couple of Swordmaster units that are quite healthy, sitting right here. And he's actually burning down some of the walls here, so opening up more choke points in the fort. And this is something that we absolutely cannot handle right now. Having 3 choke points is already too much for us. And now we're going to be having a 4th open, a 5th open here, and I'm sure they're going to open up some more on this side as well. And that might be the nail in the coffin for the Romans. That is the choke point open. My Praetorian Guard is there too. I'm hoping that they're going to notice. Come on, boys. Praetorian Guard, this is your time to shine. Don't let them Pila throw you in the sides. Yeah, charge in. There you go. There you go. Looks like it did cancel their throw as well. Let's actually slow motion it and watch some of the Praetorian Guards fight the Swordmasters. Oh, and there we go. We've got a general charging them in the flank as well, forcing them back out of the fort. I wonder whose general that is. Is that my general? Yeah, that's my general, so the legatus. That's a little bit dangerous, though, charging your legatus into melee with some swordmasters. The Roman generals are pretty underpowered. They're not that good. And we got to be careful, because there's some caltrops there as well. Ooh, that could do some damage to them. Yes, I'm losing some of my general to that. I remember in the game that this was actually a bug. I didn't tell them to come out. I had told them to move back, and for some reason they charged out. And he basically suicided himself, which is really unfortunate. Really unfortunate. Let's go ahead and put that back onto play. So yeah, my general, let's just say he was a coward and he was trying to escape, but you could just see that my general absolutely melted away there. And that is one of the generals down, so I believe that it's only Tattoos and Welding's general left. And look at this massive blob here. I don't even want to zoom into it because it'll just be a massive lag fest. But we've got all of the Nervii warriors over here pushing into this one choke point. And over here with them burning these 2 sections of the wall down, we don't have too much else that we can push in to defend there. Over here, Dan, I think he was going to get another choke point soon. I think he's still working on this tower over here. But he's finally engaged the Triarii in melee here with the Chosen Swordsman. And I've also got my auxiliary Syrian archers trying to take them on, but you can see that they are being destroyed as we speak. Yeah, that didn't really help too much, unfortunately. What a massive battle. A huge battle for sure. And there we go. That's the one Roman tower down. We've still got 2 on the other side, the Nervii side, which is actually helping me quite a bit in fighting the Nervii. But there we go, the Nervii now going to open some more choke points, and that is probably going to end it. You can see I'm quickly trying to move some forces over there. I've got my Eagle cohort moving to block this choke point, but there's really nothing to block this one. And I do have my first cohort over here to try and deal with whatever comes through this choke point. Come on, men, hold! Hold in the face of the burning flames of your fort walls. There we go. Oh. And then immediately volleying out, but then a return volley from the Swaby warriors. Nothing charging in as of yet, though. There we go, there we go. Now we've got some troops charging in. And I think that that's my last unit that's not engaged. I think Tattoos and Welding has a couple of units in the center here. But all of my units are engaged in melee, apart from this one, but they're going to be engaged in melee very soon when the round shield swordsmen from the Swaby push through here. There we go. Oh, such a tough battle. So let's zoom out and take a look at the carnage that's gone on here. So, as I said, the Nervii losing thousands of warriors over here in this outer defense. I think, as I said, they are the ones that have paid the biggest price in this battle. And then we can see the amount of dead here from the Swaby. A lot of Swaby warriors have died over here, but you can see in the light that there's a lot of Roman shields on the ground as well. And then over here, Dan, I think Dan met the least amount of resistance, if I'm not mistaken. He still has the majority of his army. Yeah, he's basically untouched. I think he was able to kind of sit back for a little bit, too, with his giant ballista, and take his time a little bit more, whereas the Swaby and the Nervii have just been fighting from the very beginning. 5 minutes left on the clock, and things are pretty dire for the Romans. And look at this, another choke point coming down. Or sorry, another choke point being opened up, the walls being brought down. But yeah, the Oathsworn are being cut up here. I've got a lot of armored legionaries here. The Triarii are holding to the last. And I believe Tattoos has his Praetorians in here as well. All of the cavalry is kind of just being wasted here, if I'm honest. They're not really going to do very well in that choke point. Yeah. Pretty laggy down here. Pretty laggy indeed, but they are holding. And just imagine if you were this general. You know that the barbarians are going to give you no quarter. But the Romans were very harsh with the barbarians when they conquered them, so why would any of the barbarians go easy on the legatus or the general and bodyguard? I think at this point he's just going to be charging in. Let's go ahead and enjoy a little bit more slow motion here as we see the Triarii fighting to the last against the brave swordmasters of the Swaby. There we go, throwing some of the swordmasters over their shields, forcing them back. This Triarii is pretty far in front of the enemy lines. He's completely surrounded by the swordmasters. There we go, he is cut down. Another Roman life ends. On the other choke points, we're holding better. I mean, these are my Praetorian Guard over here. They are fighting very bravely, but it's all in vain, unfortunately. All in vain. Oh, the Praetorians, yeah, being slaughtered by the swordmasters. And then over here, I think this was my Eagle cohort, was it? Yes, my Eagle cohort. They're actually faring pretty well, because they're only fighting one unit of Berserkers. They're down to 66. They've only got 15 kills. So we're doing well in that aspect. But it looks like the cavalry is slowly starting to make its way through. I'm pulling out my auxiliary Balearic Slingers here. I think maybe they still have a bit of ammunition left. But if we just zoom in here to the massive blob of the Nervii at the front, it's just absolute pandemonium. And the fort is ablaze. It is ablaze.
Run, Cassio!
Another choke. Oh, and maybe I pulled them out because of this other choke point coming in. I'm not sure if that's the reason, but looks like we do have some noble riders coming over here. So as soon as they break through this choke point, it's basically GG. The Eagle cohort is standing here because Dan is trying to get another choke point here, but he's got another 2 on the go. So it's basically become a giant land battle. The fort is not really, it's not really of any advantage to the Romans at this point. I'm sorry, brave Romans. We couldn't save you. It's the Teutoburg Forest all over again. I could just hear Varus, or I could just hear the Emperor calling over the forest. Varus, give me back my legions. Is this the enemy cavalry in here too? No, that's the general and bodyguard, but I think the enemy cavalry will be coming in quite soon. Oh, there we go. Another choke point opened on the Arverni side. Looks like the Romans are able to throw their Pila out there, though. That's it. Kill as many of them as you can. There we go. Oh, over the shield again. Nice job. Oof, and there it goes. And now the Noble Riders come in for these Suebi. These are Noble Riders. Yes, they are. And that is the GG. There's nothing we can do to stop the tide now. You can see I'm trying to send some Balearic Slingers over there to stop them from pushing in. I'm also disengaging, I believe, some of my Armored Legionaries to stop them, but it is too late. 1 minute and 22 seconds left on the clock. And in fact, it looks like Tattoos and Welding actually has only a couple of units left. And oh no, I don't know if you guys caught that, but he was too close here when this wall fell, and he actually lost quite a few of his Eagle cohort. That is unfortunate, but they are able to utilize their Pila to tear down those Noble Riders. But the chaos that they have caused is already too much to bear. They've hit my units in the flank. The general has long since died. I believe that Tattoo's general is dead as well, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, this is all that remains, and I believe my Eagle cohort is now surrounded by that tower. The Evocati cohort and Terrarii are slowly being cut down. Over here, the Armored Legionaries have been surrounded by a flank of naked warriors being hit by Chosen Swordsmen. We've got a column of Chosen Swordsmen coming in through this choke point here, conquering the inner area of the fort, and now they're going to hit the flank of the Terrarii here. And I don't even think that... Okay, he does charge in. I was going to say, I don't even think he's going to charge in. He's just going to use his Pila. Just the nail in the coffin. And look at that. Just like that, all of the Romans are beginning to break. And that is the battle, guys. So let's go ahead and get to the end results screen. Alright guys, so here is the end result screen, and as you can see, the Roman legions were quite outnumbered. So it was about 9,000 between the two Roman armies, but then we have about 15,000 between the three attacking barbarian tribes. So looking at my army here, so my general who suicided himself, he got no kills, so not very brave in the long run, I suppose. The Balearic Slingers didn't do too badly, but the auxiliary Syrian archers doing a lot better. And then some good kills on some of my armored legionaries here. 303, 365, 429. That is pretty solid, but these guys were kind of left for the final defense, and they just got cut down. However, the veteran legionaries not doing too bad. Looking at Tattoos and Welding's force, his general got 5 kills, so that's something. His Syrian archers did pretty well, but his Velites got shredded in the beginning of the battle. 205, 139, 173, 269, so kind of a mixed bag on his legionary cohort. Terrarii did not do well at all. His Evocati cohort did pretty solid. Armored Legionaries, 2 of them getting over 200 kills, that's pretty good, but just not enough between our two armies, unfortunately. I think some of these were just racked up on the cheaper units from the Red Celt. So looking at him first, his cavalry kind of engaged later on, but they're very healthy. They still got some kills, but not too many. The Celtic Skirmishers, not too much. Osworn, this one got 207, but the other ones didn't get many kills at all. And the Fierce Swords, this one got almost 100. The Naked line over here with the Naked Warriors and the Spear Brother, or sorry, the Naked Warriors and the Naked Spears. Not that many kills. Same with the Spear Brothers. So I think that's where the majority of my kills came from, was these units at the bottom. Looking at Joe Onnit's force, he did excellent with the Cimbrian Bowwomen. He really shredded the Roman legionaries. His cavalry doing pretty good. This one got 132 kills. The Berserkers, surprisingly, not too many kills. 79 and 34, 18. That's pretty low for Berserkers. Bloodsworn, kind of a mixed bag. His Club Levy didn't do too well. His Hexbearer is actually getting barely any kills. That is very surprising. But he made up for it with his Swordmasters. 274 and 109, 197. That is pretty good. And then looking at Dan, 375 kills with that Celtic Giant Ballista. That is disgusting. His cavalry never even saw battle. His general never even saw battle. Oathsworn never even saw battle. The Naked Warriors got a couple of kills kind of at the end. But the heavy lifting, again, those Gallic Hunters, we were just packed like sardines in a can there. We had no room to move. The Celtic Warriors, this one getting 100 kills. That's not bad. But the backbone of his force doing pretty well. Those that engaged heavily got a lot of kills. 244, 252, 251. And the Levy Freemen, they're Levy Freemen, so they didn't do too bad, I suppose. But thank you so much for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed, and I hope you enjoyed my 1000th upload on the channel. I'm always trying to make my videos better, so constructive criticism is welcome down in the comments below. If you have anything that you think I should be doing differently, feel free to let me know. But that is it for me, so until the next one, guys, I hope you did enjoy. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you all again soon.